shortly. I'm Julian Gennady, and Justin Sapporo, the co-host today. He's not here. He's not able to make it. He's at work. Ciao, everyone. Welcome back to the Bianconeri Zone. We had a little technical issue there, but welcome to the live show. Today's date is Thursday, September 2nd, 2021. Welcome back to the Bianconeri Zone. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe. If you're not new, like the videos and click the bell icon to stay notified with all of our new content coming up. I'm Julian Gennady. Justin Sapporo, my co-host, is not here today. As you can see, it's just me. He's unfortunately stuck at work again. Today we're just going to discuss how important Juventus players are to the Italian national team. We're going to go over since the start of the new century. We're going to go over the key players that have been successful for the teams or for Italy for the past 21 years. I'm also going to go in a little bit to all the other players all the other Juventus players that are they're playing for the national teams now, like Kulusevski for Sweden, like Morata for Spain, De Ligt yesterday. Why didn't he play? And all that. So I'm happy for the 7 people who are here right now. Let's try and get the chat going. But first thing I want to point out, as we all know, Federico Chiesa scored a great goal today. His form for Italy has continued. His form from the Euro Cup has continued even with games for Juventus. We saw against Empoli in the first half. He dribbled from his own half and almost scored a goal a couple times, actually. And you saw what he can do on the big stage again, on the international stage. He picked up the ball on the right wing. He dribbled past 2 or 3 Bulgarians, top of the edge of the area, did a 1-2, I believe, with Immobile. Shockingly, Immobile got his touch off and set Chiesa back in his path. And Freddie Church passed the ball right in the bottom right-hand corner. Beautiful goal. Everyone was excited. It looked like no one missed a beat for Italy. But then the rest of the match, we looked like we had no finishing idea. What I mean by that is the attackers who were actually playing, like Immobile and Insigne, I'm gonna rip on them again and again for the national team. I don't know how we won Euro 2020 with those two as a front three. It's crazy because Insigne offers nothing but a curling shot. He offers nothing much else than that, and some set piece play. Immobile, he's hit or miss. Like, Jesus Christ, I don't know. Like, why was Keane in the stands? Why was Moise Keane in the stands and not even as part of the? Why didn't he dress? It was not good. It was not good from them again, and we didn't beat Bulgaria at home. It's kind of bad. We'll go to the chat for a second. What's up, Usman? Evening, guys. Sorry for being late. No problem, Usman. You haven't missed much yet. Comicus says, hi, Juventini. Hello, Comicus. And James Tonin says, shout out to Brian Cristante. Yeah, you know what? Shout out to Brian Cristante. He's a little bit Canadian, and I'm Canadian. So good for Brian Cristante for getting some appearances still. Representing Canada well. Going back to the game now. You could tell that Jorginho, Barella, Verratti just totally dominate any midfield. It's not even close whoever they play against. It's really nice to watch. Jorginho's so good on the ball, so calm. He directs traffic. Verratti, same way, similar way. He just plays a bit further up. Barella can wriggle himself out of situations, but he wasn't on his game today for whatever reason. It just was fine. He was okay. Which is to be expected. Like, you can't play your best game every game, but we should have gotten 3 points. Okay, I'm back. Okay, sorry guys about that. That little bit of a lag there. Going on, I was talking about Florenzi and messing up from a Milanese perspective. Classic. They ruined the national team. One Milanese player comes in and everything goes to shit. No, but Bonucci messed up there too. Same with Acerbi on the Bulgaria goal. Acerbi was not even close to the center forward. Bonucci did his classic turn his back to goal, trying to prevent the cross, and Donnarumma was sleeping too. Now, if he was on Juventus, would he have made that save? That's the $1 million question. I'm kidding. He should have probably saved it though. Still, that shot. And I saw a lot of Juve Twitter going off on Donnarumma as well, saying he should have probably stopped that. So that's pretty much what happened in the game. Not much else happened. We had a lot of there's a lot of nice one-touch passing, but was it penetrative enough? No. Was it nice to watch around the edge of the area? Yes. Do we lack an instinctive striker? Yes. Again, Keane not even dressed. They brought in Raspadori as a number 9. Little questionable there for Mancini. Locatelli wasn't even dressed. I wonder why. I actually have no idea why. Surely Brian Cristante is not the answer compared to Locatelli. But again, at the end of the day, it's a World Cup qualifier. We still have 10 points out of 4 games. And a Juventus player did score, which is the whole reason why we're doing this live today. Not solely because of him, just we're going to take a look back in the past. And Bernardeschi didn't play, did he? No, he didn't even. Does he dress? I don't even know if he dressed either. Second half was really boring. What do you guys think about the Italian national team today? Let me know in the comment section and we can discuss it. Davide Furfaro says, "Ciao amici." What's going on, Davide? Mohammed says, "Bro, I want Haaland." Don't we all? I would love to have Haaland. Again, that's hopefully a summer 2022 thing with all the money we're going to get. T-Bone says, "Evening, mate. Been a Juve fan since 1994 and just discovered your channel. Great content. Always good to have a strong Juve presence in the national team. Forza." 100%. When I prompt our producer Ale to show you what we've come up with today, it'll further illustrate why Ital Juve is such a strong influence in the Italian national team. Usman says, "When did Thanos become a fan?" He's always been there, just chilling, right? T-Bone laughed. Clement says, Chiesa makes him proud every day. So Clement's always proud of him. And he says, "Ciao Juventini." What's up, Clement? I love that you're always here. It's always fun time when you're around. Davide says, "Love Chiesa, always impresses." Yeah. Again, me and my cousin, if you ever see him in the comment section, he's called the Giacometti 8. Whenever we text, we always say, like, "Oh my God, here comes Chiesa again." And it's every time he touches the ball, it's amazing. Something definitely always happens. Like, the excitement is there, not always the final product, obviously, but the excitement's always there when he touches the ball inside the opponent's half. I always get excited, but I don't know about you guys. Gianluca Camenzuli says, "I think it's better not to buy Haaland. He will cost a lot of money and leave after 3 years." What are 3 years they will be, though, hopefully. So you can never say no to a guy like Haaland, in my opinion. Crazy Ray, why was Locatelli not on the bench for the game? Yeah, it's a good question. Maybe Mancini's press conference after the game is probably going on right now. He's probably having to answer some of those questions. I think he's just going to say, "I was saving him for the Switzerland game," blah, blah, blah. He's going to give some coach speak because there's no reason why Locatelli's not coming on instead of Cristante, unless it's disciplinary reasons. But I can't see why he wouldn't come on or even dress. Now, again, what's Mancini going to say in the press conference is another thing. Maybe we'll be able to see or watch on Twitter. But it is what it is. Coach makes the decisions. He's just coming off a Euro Cup win. Can't really criticize what he decides to do. One major criticism is bringing on Raspadori and not dressing as secondary striker. Because Raspadori is not really a focal point striker. He's more of a in-between guy, like a trequartista kind of guy. But again, he just won a Euro Cup, so who cares? Going on, Max says, "I miss the days when the Juve team was pretty much the national team. I think it's a great idea." Well, if we think about it, and our best Juventus starting lineup, we would have 5 Italians. We have Chiellini, Bonucci, we have Locatelli in midfield, Chiesa on a wing, and either Keane on a wing or up front. And that's 5 Italian national team players, and that's half of Juventus. So we can only be excited about that, what that future is. Probably need some defenders, like Italian center backs, but that'll come. That'll come in the market. Del Juve Piero says, as a Swede, I was very pleased with Kulusevski's performance. He seems to have taken note of Chiesa and be more direct. Honestly, every time I've watched Sweden, like I was skipping back and forth between the Sweden game and Italy game today because I love Kulusevski. That's he's on the back of the shirt. I'm a really big fan of his. I think he's going to be great still. Every time he plays for Sweden, he's dominant. Even against the Spanish side, which has some obviously very good players. He bullied Aspilicueta on the Sweden second goal. He burned him for even against the Spanish side, and then has some he turned him and played him for pace, and then he picked out a great cross to Claes. He bullied Aspilicueta on the Sweden second goal. Let me know if he burned him for. But yeah, the second goal scorer, and then it was funny because Aspilicueta just looked up and he was like fed up, and he looked up and looked at his center backs and said, "Who was marking Claes on?" It was definitely his fault that Kulusevski burned him. So that's awesome. Clement says, I was impressed by our boy Federico Chiesa. Yep. He also says Kulusevski makes also a decisive pass. Yes, he did. That's what we were just talking about. Max says, I think CR7 helped Chiesa and Kulu a lot. Okay, explain yourself for that one. I'd like to understand your reasoning why. Co-host Justin Soforo says Italy became too used to playing to penalties. Yeah, so they've played the last 3 games 1-1. England was 1-1, Spain was 1-1, and now Bulgaria is 1-1. So got to get out of that habit now. Got to get some wins back on the board. So probably at this point we're going to go look into our Ital Juve through the years, through the turn of the century. I started with the year 2000 because I don't want to go too far back. And the last time it would have been 1994 when we reached the final. So I just started with 2000 because it made the most sense. So if producer Ali wants to throw that up there, we see in Euro 2000 all those Juventus players that made the Italian national team. The ones highlighted in yellow, they started the final. So it was Pesotto and Marco Giuliano. They started the final where Ciro Ferrara, Antonio Conte, Inzaghi, Del Piero, and Zambrotta, they were all bench players. That's obviously when they were very young, like especially Zambrotta, Del Piero, and Inzaghi. But yeah, so just looking at that list, you got 7 players there, 7 out of 23-man squad. That's almost a third of your team is Juventus players. I'm not saying they all made Italy the successful nation they were that year, but again, it helped out a lot. Pesotto was playing as a left wing back, I believe, and Giuliano was playing as a center back with Maldini and Nesta. They played a 3-5-2, like maybe a 5-3-2, if you're talking in Italian terms, Catenaccio. But yeah, so Euro 2000 successful. They lost to France 2-1 in the final. Was it 2-1? I think it was 2-1. Classic Italian style play, though. They defended well throughout the whole tournament. They had good technical players when they needed them to show up, and they scored some goals. And yeah, that's what I remember from Euro 2000. Justin Safaro says overreactionary TA. I don't know what that means. If you can explain yourself, that'd be great. Sorry guys, it's a slow news day, so we're just going to go through what we have for the Azzurri and the national team. If we go on to the World Cup in 2006, so 2006 World Cup triumph, we go look at that roster. I have a better picture of that because I was actually like 13 and I remember the game. Whereas in 2000, I was only 7 years old, and I just remember my dad yelling at the TV. But yeah, so in the World Cup 2006 squad, that was a really talented squad in general. They got really good forwards. You had 2 classic center midfielders on the team. and then you can't screw with what we had at the back with Cannavaro, Zambrotta, and co. Obviously, it's Super GG in net. But if we look, we only had 5 in comparison to 2000, in the year 2000, where we had 7 players, but we had more starters in the final when we reached the final. So Buffon obviously started in net. Cannavaro was captain, center back, played a really good tournament. And all, I'm pretty sure, he won the Ballon d'Or that year. After they won the World Cup, he won the Ballon d'Or after Calciopoli happened, and then he went to Real Madrid, but whatever, that's a different story. Camoranesi started at right wing or right midfield, and then Zambrotta started. Zambrotta started right back, I think, or was he left mid? I forget what he actually. I think in the final he played right back, but there was a point in time where Zambrotta was being played as a midfielder as well. But again, the point of this exercise is to see that in the winning World Cup 2006 year, we had more starting Juventus players. So 4 of the 11 players that started for Italy were Juventus players, and we came out on top. So beautiful. It's always nice to remind people of that. I'll just hop back in the chat before we move on to the next 2 finals. Sorry. Edgar Mulamula says Mancini took too long to sub out Immobile and sub in Raspadori, who is a quick thinker. Yeah, so I still think we needed a proper focal point player when Immobile came off, because Raspadori isn't that hold up focal point kind of player. He's more of like you said, a quick thinker. He's more of an agile player that is shifty, plays through lines instead of being the last man and target man. Crazy Ray says Pjanic went to Besiktas. Glad we missed that train wreck. Honestly, I know we were shitting on him this whole transfer window, but Miralem Pjanic probably would have helped out in the immediate present. We got some injuries on our team and already in midfield, and we don't have a true regista that knows what Allegri wants. So whatever, I'm not going to cry because he went to Besiktas, but it is what it is. The fix was always in, says Chiesa, Kulusevski, and Locatelli are self-made players, fantastic natural talents focused on their own development without outside influence. Although Agnelli is now boss, which players sometimes need. Yeah, so everyone has their own development path, right? Kulusevski grew up in the Atalanta Academy, or not grew up, but that's where he made his claim to fame. Then he had that one really good year on loan at Parma. He hasn't quite hit the ground running yet for Juventus, but we've seen his quality. We've seen his left foot. It's like with any left footer. It's quality. He can hook the ball into the far corner with ease. He's got a good dribbling technique. He likes to drive at people, which is good. And then Chiesa, obviously we know Chiesa's story. Fiorentina through and through. Got him last year, and he hit the ground running, and then he hasn't stopped. That's the thing. Kulusevski's hit a little of a rough patch since he's come to Juventus, but Chiesa has not stopped. He keeps going, improving. And a couple of live shows ago, I mentioned that he's a world-class player, Chiesa, but is he generational? That is the $1 million question. Is Federico Chiesa a generational talent? That's what I've seen a lot on Twitter. To me, I don't think he's a generational talent. I think he's an extremely quality winger and player. But to me, generational is Ronaldo, Messi, Haaland, those guys who score a goal every game in their primes, those guys who influence matches like no other. Like we saw Chiesa against Empoli. He was good. He was very good, don't get me wrong. But did we capitalize on it? No. Udinese, did he do much? Not really, as a sub, right? So generational to me means every time he steps on the field, we think or he's going to produce something, or definitely at the least tries to, or is almost, or the goalie stops him. So, what do you guys think? Ali, throw that poll up. Is Federico Chiesa a generational player? let's see what the people think. I'm going to scroll back into the comments. Whoa. I went too far. Sorry, I'm on my phone. I'm still working on to get the laptop ready to go. Okay, so here we go. Edgar Mula says, Euro 2000, the back three were Nesta Cannavaro, Marco Giuliano. Maldini was a left wing back in a 3-5-2. I thought Pessotto was. I could be wrong, but I thought Pessotto was the wing back. Justin Safaro says, overreactionary take. If they draw with Switzerland, when do we panic about the World Cup qualification again? If we tie Switzerland, we'd be at 11 points through 5 games. I think it's still fine. I think we'll beat Northern Ireland. We'll beat Lithuania. We'll beat Bulgaria again, or whoever we play. I don't think qualification is in jeopardy at this point. So that's overreactionary, Justin. Yeah, I have to put it frank. Mike H says, "Hey, I'm back. Yes, is the best." T-Bone says the 90s team or 90s Juve team was a beast. We had real fighters in the team, which are missing now: Peruzzi, Torricelli, Pessotto, Conte, Inzaghi, Del Piero, Vialli, Ravanelli, Delivio, just to name a few. Yeah, 100%. I wasn't obviously. My brain wasn't fully formed during that era, but I have looked back at past tapes. I have watched these players play on video or VHSs that my dad used to collect, and yeah, they instilled grinta from the beginning. Edgar Mula says Kulu looks unsure on the ball. I have major doubts he'll be a Juve quality player. No, just wait. Just wait. He's still 21 or 21 years old, so just wait. Vegeta says, why aren't you joining Julian, Justin? Yeah, Justin, what's going on, dude? Busy schedule. Life hits you fast when you got a real job. It's all good. We'll be together again soon enough. Comedian says, hi, Juventini. Come on, guys. First like and then watch the show. Yeah, good. I like that shout out. So, guys, if you have the chance, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and definitely click the bell icon for more content coming up. Just Juve. So Beppe says, Del Piero is the best number 7 ever. I mean, sure. I'm not arguing there for the 2006 one for sure. I think Twitter had a sports poll, or the Twitter sports account had a thing saying who's the best number 7 ever. Obviously, Beppe says Del Piero from 2006, but I said obviously I'm just kidding, but I sent a picture of Simone Pepe in a Juventus number 7 shirt. Good times. Remember Simone Pepe when he scored? He did the golf swing. Good times. I miss that guy. Edgar Mula says, Chiesa is not generational. Luis Figo played the same position and he was generational, even a better football mind than CR7. Yeah, throughout the years, obviously, of course, there's been so many great players. The term generational gets thrown around a lot, way too much for my liking, especially. Of course, like we always say, or like every Juventus fan always says, Chiesa, great player. But some people do go over the top by saying this guy's generational, that guy's generational. Well, what does generational mean? That means 1, 2, or 3 players of this class are at the top, at the peak. And it's definitely Haaland. It's definitely Mbappe. And then we'll see. We'll see what else happens. Mike H says Pinsolio is generational. He's a generational third choice keeper. I agree. No, man, I love Pinsolio. It was awesome when the Pandy was going on. Sorry, like obviously, but it was awesome to hear the team noise coming from the broadcast when we watched Juventus play when there was no fans in the stands. It was awesome because whenever Kulu had the ball, you heard Pinsolio and Buffon saying "Vai Kulu, vai Kulu," and it was just awesome to hear all the time. You know those guys are team players. You know Pinsolio's a team guy. He's just a fun guy to be around, it looks like. And there's a reason why Juventus keep him around. Davide Fufaro says, yeah, he probably gets excited every time Chiesa touches the ball too. Vegeta says Chiesa still has a lot to achieve to look like he's a generational player. He has potential to be huge, though, 100%. Palibara says, oh, he's responding to Beppe saying, no doubt about it. That's probably about it's obviously about the Del Piero number 7 shout. Justin says, Mi amore Del Piero, get a room, Justin. Mike H says, what's up, Beppe? Yep. And then Justin's pissed off because Beppe joined when Justin is not here today. That sucks, eh? Yusuf Mirmo says, maybe not generational, but you would say he's on his way to become one if he continues to perform the way he's doing now. Yeah. He's 23. He's turning 24 in October. So next month, Chiesa, we're talking about. His counting stats need to go up. Obviously, his performances are there right now. But at the end of the day, his counting stats need to hit 20. Like, he's got to get 20 goals, especially as a winger, to be considered generational. Because last year he had, I think, 10 or 12 goals and like 10 or 12 assists, which is, again, it's fine. It's very good, actually. It's not just fine. Chiesa's had very good counting numbers or counting stats. However, if he wants to get to that next level and join the generational echelon, then he's got to score more. He's got to assist more. He's got to do everything even more. And that's a lot to ask, but if that's what people think he is, he needs to reach those levels. James Azopardi says hi. Edgar Mula says CR7's football achievements are generational, but his football mind and ideas are not generational. He's never impressed me as a beautiful football mind like Ronaldo. So the Brazilian Ronaldo, Zidane, or Ronaldinho. I don't think that matters because a guy like Mesut Ozil has a generational mind, and we don't consider Mesut Ozil generational. So Edgar, I'm gonna say Ronaldo obviously is a generational player, but you can't knock his football mind when his football mind is very good. He's reinvented himself to play as a striker, and the way he's learned how to time his runs in the box and meet with connecting crosses, that's a football mind. You got to time that stuff to perfection. You got to time your athleticism. You got to beat players to the ball. You got to outsmart players. That's a footballing mind. So while I agree with you that Ronaldinho and Zidane have obviously a more mental capacity for the game, don't discredit Ronaldo for that. Justin says, like and subscribe. Yeah, keep doing it, guys. Help us grow. We'll bring you better content. So the poll is Chiesa a generational player? 28 people voted. 71% of you said generational. Wow. 28 said quality player. Well, you guys speak for yourselves then. I'm going to say he's just a very, very, very good quality player at this point. Again, my expectations of generational are probably higher than yours, but everyone has their opinion. Justin says, will Ronaldo request a transfer to France's national squad? Now you're just being a dink. But yeah, that's funny. Will he go? Who knows? Kanan Rugansi says, remember my words. It will be a disaster season. The management is lost. Okay, so he's just going straight back to Juventus and calling out the management, upper management, Nedved, Arrivabene, Cherubini, and co. Listen, we've gone over it this whole week. We've gone over potential lineups yesterday. We went over the transfer deadline day on Tuesday. On Monday, we were prefacing what was going to happen on the transfer deadline day. At the end of the day, nothing happened. Nothing of significance happened. There's outgoings and one incoming that went out. I think they are planning. I think they're fine with what we have as a roster for this year. And I think their goal is to make top 4. And I think next year they're planning on spending big. And if everything works out for them, if their plan works out, they'll reach top 4. They'll reach the knockout stages in the Champions League. And next year they'll be able to spend a bunch of money next summer. Again, you can be critical of that if you want, but with limited funds, and I've said this, Justin and I have said this repeatedly till we were blue in the face. With limited funds, what could be expected of what they could have done? They literally got Locatelli for free on a dry two-year dry loan deal for free. That's incredible management. The timing of the signing, the acquisition, not a Zakine. Yes, at the end of 2 years, it's going to be quite expensive, but as a replacement level striker for now, good deal. Kyle George, it's fine, a good deal, fine, whatever, 1.5 million for a prospect. And finally, Mohamed Ihataren. I think we're just doing Mino Raiola a favor with that one, even though he's an elite talent. So at the end of the day, you can be mad with management all you want. You're a fan. You're allowed your own opinions of what happened. I gave it a 5 out of 10 market, and I think that's just. Syed says Chiesa is greater than Insigne. Yes, 100%. 100%. There's nothing else to say about that. Insigne has one thing that goes for him. He either cuts in with his right foot, tries to curl with his right foot. Sometimes, very few times it works, and when it works, it looks great. But when it doesn't work, it's frustrating. Chiesa can burn you down the left, burn you down the right, left foot, right foot, cross, score, whatever he wants to do, he'll do. That's a more complete player than Insigne, no doubt in my mind. Okay, so after the poll, we're going to go into our Euro 2012 Ital Juve lineup. It's another well. There's a lot of players on this list as well. So if producer Ali wants to shimmy that over, thank you. So look at all the yellow. So Euro 2012, we had 7 players from the Italian national or from Juventus playing on the Italian national team. We got obviously Buffon, we got Bonucci, Barzagli, Chiellini, BBC, and then we had Marchisio, part of the MVP midfield with Marchisio and Pirlo, and then we had Emanuele Giaccherini. Crazy how he made the national team for like 4 years, from Euro 2012 to Euro 2016. Good for him, obviously. He did perform fine. He was fine for the national team. But, yeah, and then we see the 6 yellow players highlighted. Those all started the match. I know we got bangs 4-0 against Spain. But we got scored on early on in the game, and then Chiellini got hurt like almost immediately after. So that probably derailed the whole situation there. It's 9 years ago. I was also drunk at a Wasaga Beach. If you're Canadian, you know what Wasaga Beach is. But yeah, so that this is the most illustrated way of showing Ital Juve, the graphic you see on the screen here, because 6 out of 11 more than half the team were Juventus players. If that's not influence, I don't know what is. Again, Pirlo was in his the swan song prime, if you will. Coming off the World Cup, he got released by Milan a couple years later, and then he found himself new life at Juventus. Won MVP of Italy or Serie A like 3 years in a row. Dominated that midfield again. Marchisio box to box, Juventini gold. Like, you can't say enough about our prince. And then obviously the BBC at the back, solid as you like, always every game. Obviously not in the final, but again, I'll chalk that one down to a miss or inopportune injury from Chiellini. How many times have we said that over the past years? And then of course Buffon, best goalie to ever play the game. Next, we're going to go on to the most recent iteration of a final reached team from Italy, Euro 2020 or Euro 2021, wherever you want to call it. We added Locatelli's name into this one, to this list, because he was on the verge. I knew he was always signing for Juventus this summer. We thought he was going to sign before. He probably thought he was going to sign before. So we didn't consider him a Sassuolo player. We consider him a Juventus player. So if Ale wants to change the list over to the Euro 2020, whenever he sees fit, we'll move on to that. I guess not. Maybe he's snoozing. There you go. Um, so I guess we were going with Euro 2020 and onward. So we got Chiellini, Bonucci, Chiesa, Bernardeschi, Locatelli, and Ken. For this team in the final, obviously Chiellini, Bonucci, and Chiesa started. Chiesa was the man of the match. Well, not. He was our man of the match. He was the only guy who, as an attacker, who posed any threat to England. I still remember, well, obviously it was only 2 months ago, but I remember Chiesa just absolutely running the show against Declan Rice on that one run. The England players had no match for Chiesa that game. So again, Chiellini immense, Harry Kane in his back pocket, Lukaku in his back pocket, Bonucci world class on the ball as always, pinpoint passes, long balls, whatever you like. Still skeptical about his individual defending, but whatever. But Chiellini makes up for it. And now going into the future, like starting now, going into the future, Locatelli is going to have an influence on this team. We saw it in the Euro Cup in the first couple of games. He started off the tournament by dominating the midfield against Turkey. Then he scored the 2 goals against Switzerland, and then Verratti came back, and then Locatelli played more of a bit role, but still very good when he came on. Moise Kean, disciplinary reasons kept him off the team originally. Now he's back with the national setup, so looking forward to his return. I think he's their best proper number 9 striker. I think he's better than Immobile. I think he's better than Belotti. I think he's better than Raspadori. But he's more clinical than those players, at least. But yeah, definitely excited for Kean. Once he plays with Juventus a couple of games, I think he'll eventually replace Immobile up front. And hopefully he'll tell his buddy Nicolo Zaniolo to come as well to Juventus. So now we're going to jump back into the comments. Let me know what out of those 4 teams, let me know what your favorite is, and say why. Why are these teams your favorite? Why is 2000 your favorite? Why is 2006 your favorite? Why is 2012? Why is 2020 and onward? Going back to the chat now. T-Bone says, the big question is, how do we play both Chiesa and Kulusevski from the beginning? They should both be playing regularly, but they both play the best on the right wing, in my opinion. Honestly, I think Chiesa is good enough to play anywhere on the field, obviously in an attacking sense, except maybe striker, but obviously he's not a striker. But any wing position, any like trequartista position, I think he can play. He's just a baller. Every time he touches the ball, he looks up and he wants to attack, and that's good. That's good. He doesn't have to stay at right wing. You saw it. Insigne gets taken out, Chiesa goes left, and takes his spot. So I think Kulusevski is obviously better on the right wing because he likes to cut on his left all the time. And on Sweden, he actually plays forward up top with Isak. That incredible player. Oh my God, he's good. But yeah, so Kulusevski, anywhere further up the pitch on the right-hand side, I think he'll fit in anywhere at that point or in that part of the pitch. And Chiesa, I can think you can fit him in. You can fit him in anywhere. Davide Fufaro says, my standards are low. I'll take anyone with beautiful hair. Jeremy Bula says, how's Kulusevski in this form not starting at Juve? That's the thing. It kind of coincides with what T-Bone's saying. How do you fit both of them in? How do you fit Kulusevski and Chiesa in? And that's a big job Max Allegri has to do. He has to find a way to include them both. Every time Kulusevski plays for Sweden, he's great. Now, and against a good competition as well. Excuse me. He played Spain today, and he was very good. Why can't he do that against Empoli? Why can't he do that against Salernitana? I'm sure he can. I'm sure if you started Kulusevski in his form that he's in now, he'd be very good against Napoli. But again, we have to see what Allegri how Allegri can fit it all in, because then you have to also think about, okay, there's Dybala as well. Okay, here we need an actual striker as well. And it gets to a lot of attacking positions, and Allegri likes his balance, as most coaches do. Smiley Face says, people have some faith in Allegri. If you're a new fan, I'm going to tell you, you're going to see a different Juventus in the upcoming months and better performances from the players. Yeah, for sure, because Allegri is demanding, and he usually gets the best out of his players, though. Usually. We see that right now we're not in a good place. But come October, I think we'll be hitting the ground running. Again, I'm not saying we're going to win the league, but realistic goals are we will finish top 4 and we will make the knockout stages in the Champions League. And that's how we got to think right now. Anything else is a bonus. That might be a pessimistic point of view, but at the end of the day, we started how we started. Now the schedule is going to come back at us, and we got to work our way out. James Azapardi says, I wish that Juventus got Jorginho or Barella. Preferably, actually both, because we need an attacking midfielder as well. Yeah. We need a register and an attacking midfielder, so both would be great alongside Locatelli, and you got the same exact midfield Italy had against Turkey and Switzerland. And they're both 3-0 wins. So that'd be a nice looking midfield. Toriro says, what's up, Julian? What's up, Toriro? How's it going? Kanan says, why do you think Kulusevski's performance with Sweden is way better with Juventus? Is it the coach or environment? I don't think it's the coach, because obviously we'd like to think Allegri's better. Now this is also Kulusevski's second coach in 2 years at Juventus. Not to mention most players it's their fourth coach in 4 years. But for Kulusevski specifically, he's a young, growing player. He probably needs some continuity to develop better. And at Sweden, he's usually asked to play in the same role every game. So he's playing as a forward or a second forward just under Isak or right beside Isak. And on Sweden, he has to be the main guy, or at least the second main guy after Isak. So he's the main creator. I'm selling Emil Forsberg short a bit, but again, Kulusevski's playing higher up the pitch. So Kulusevski's expected more of him for Sweden. At Juventus, there's a pecking order. There's Dybala, there was Ronaldo, there's Chiesa, and he's like 4th now. I guess you can throw Morata in front of Kulusevski. He's like 5th in terms of attacking choices. So I think that Kulusevski could do better at Juventus, but with more continuity, more confidence from a coach, like saying, yes, Kulu, we're going to play you right wing for the majority of the season, unless we need to put you somewhere else. So just some reassurances maybe, because he is an impressionable guy as well. You see on his if you look at his Instagram a lot, he likes the rap game, like for music. He likes basketball. He's very impressionable in terms of his football idols as well. So if he's that kind of guy, you need to know how to coach that kind of guy. Edgar says, if Chiesa had more technique, he'd be a devastating player and possibly generational. Yeah, that's another thing. His finishing has gotten a lot better. We've seen the last 3 national team goals he scored. Perfectly placed shots. The one against Austria, world class. The one against Spain, world class. This goal against Bulgaria, world class. If he can work on his finishing a bit more, and not necessarily his touch, because he still needs to have that explosivity to him. He still needs to have a good first touch to let him get into his stride. So you don't want to make sure his touch is touch tight every single time, because that could hinder the way he plays as well. Smiley Face says 2012 Pirlo is greater than the 2020 national team midfield. I mean, individually, Pirlo would be the best player out of those 3, of course. But those 3 against Pirlo, of course, the 3 are going to beat the 1. Smiley Face says, remember when Allegri turned Barzagli from CD to So center back to right wing back. Never thought it would happen. Oh, I remember that game. And then he sprinted the whole field a couple times down the right flank. That's awesome. I remember that. James as a party says Barzagli was the best from the best from BBC. No, you think Barzagli was better than Chiellini? No. Throw up a poll, Ale. Ale, you got to throw up another poll. Who is better, Barzagli or Chiellini or Bonucci? Give it one. Do a 3-man poll. Get the people cooking here. Because so that's a big take. That's a really hot take there. Lester Williams says Kulu played like a champ tonight. See him better. He can see him being a breakout star this year. That's what I've been saying from the beginning. From the beginning of this year, I'm really a big fan of Kulusevski. That's who's on the back of my shirt, as I've been saying. I'm really excited for what he's going to come or what he's going to become. Hopefully he stays at Juventus because I'm pretty sure he's going to be a really good player. I've almost bet everything I own on that. Ismail Bergatar says, seeing this, I thought there were a lot of star players spread across various teams in 2000 and 2010. Oh, you're talking about the national teams. Yeah, looking back on it, when I did divide or create the lists, there was a lot of Milan players from the 2000 team, and the 2006 team also had Pirlo, Gattuso, and I think Gilardino was on it, and a couple other from Milan as well. So Milan's also had a big influence, but more so Juventus. Oh man, a lot of hot takes going on here. I like these polls. I like the midstream polls. Vegeta, he's talking to Smiley. So Tariro says, I think it was poor management replacing Ronaldo with another forward. Ronnie was going to play center forward, and Caio and Morata are the other ones, while our midfield is not reliable fitness-wise and no quality. So Tariro's bringing it back to club football, and you know what? I'm over talking about Ronaldo here. He's gone now. We did what we did in the summer mercato. We ended up selling him, which is incredible. I can't believe someone actually bought him because, like, he had 1 year left on his contract. He's turning 37. No other team was bidding for him. So I think we got a good deal. Edgar Mulamula says Juve should get Zaniolo if he stays fit. Best attacking midfield Italy has. We should get Icardi as a prima punta, so it's a top striker. Pogba for free and a fullback of Cancelo proportions. So you want a fullback that can't defend? But whatever. Everyone has their opinion on Cancelo. I wasn't his biggest fan. Yes, of course, attacking, great player. Crossing, good player. Build-up play, good player. Defensively organized, no chance. Did he make a lot of mistakes defensively? Yes. Someone who can do both, I prefer, defend and attack. But yeah, Zaniolo, 100% I want. Icardi, if there's Vlahovic or Haaland, I go for those two, obviously, before him. But we'll see what happens next year. We'll see what kind of money we have. We'll see how competitive we were this year in order for us to spend next year. We'll see what happens. My mom says, hi, Jules. What's up, Mom? Tariro says, emphasis on my previous point, like we have 8 forwards excluding Keane, and Locatelli is the only reliable midfielder we have. 8 forwards. Are you including Chiesa and Kulusevski as forwards? Let me know, Tariro. Vegeta says, Chiellini, Barzagli, Bonucci if we talk about peak level. So Chiellini is greater than Barzagli, who's greater than Bonucci. Chiellini is definitely the best full-on center back we had or have. Bonucci is the best ball-playing player we have, or center back we have. And Barzagli was a little bit of both, but he was also just like a brick wall warrior type of guy. Never said boo to anybody. Always did his job. and they all brought something different. That's why they were so successful together. But I think Chiellini stands out definitely. Yusuf Mirmo says, the only way I can see Kulu and Chiesa playing is a 4-2-3-1 with Chiesa, Dybala, Kulu behind Keane. Again, it's hard to fit all those players in a system that Allegri wants, especially because I don't think he wants to play, or he doesn't. I don't think he wants that much lopsided balance in the attack compared to organized defensive shape. Again, I don't know if you can start Chiesa. I don't know if you can start Dybala and Kulusevski and Chiesa and Keane. I think you have to play around with that a bit. On FIFA, it'd be great. On FIFA, go nuts. Edgar Mulamula said Totti saw the pitch and was a quicker thinker than Pirlo. Both were generational, though. I've never seen a footballer over the years who could play a one-touch through pass repeatedly better than Totti. Yeah, I'm going to say it's a nice love story and like it's romanticism that Totti stayed with Roma, but he really should have went to Real Madrid, shouldn't he have? Like at the end of the day, he should have went. We would have seen his quality displayed on a European stage, especially in the Champions League. We would have seen him probably improve all around together, playing with better players. But the allure of him being a Roma boy and being a Roma man, one club man, that's different. Like that's different gravy. So it is good that he stayed in the grand scheme of things. But it would have been nice to see him go to Real Madrid. He also said, or Edgar also goes on to say, Barzagli was better than Chiellini. Chiellini is a better leader with more grinta. Oh, come on, Edgar. Chiellini's better, man. He's just a straight up better defender. James says, sorry, but that is my opinion, more technical. Yeah, fair enough. You guys can have all your opinions, but I'm going to say my opinion. If you want a guy to straight up just defend and protect your goal, I'm picking Chiellini over Barzagli. And the position is literally center back, and his job is to protect his net. So I'm going to go Chiellini being the better center back. Yusuf Mirmo says, to be honest, I think I've never seen Barzagli do a big mistake. Chiellini and Bonucci have had their have had their moments, but Barzagli was always very consistent. Yeah, he was. You never say, "Oh my God, that's Barzaghi's fault." I feel that, but was he tasked always with did he always have the biggest task? Like Chiellini was always tasked with marking the best player on their team, on the opposition team. He was always asked to do the most. So definitely Barzagli, and I'm not shitting on Barzagli here. Of course, I think he's a great defender, but in terms of straight up defending, I still think Chiellini was better. Saad says everyone is happy at the end of the day. He gets to leave and we get to rebuild and move on. He's talking about obviously Voldemort. Edgar says about Cancelo, he was bad defensively, but had started learning in his last days of major improvement. I guess. I don't know. How much has he learned since? Not much. He's still defensive liability. So we'll never know. Davide Fufaro says, we should make a poll guessing which city you are from. You're a Red Wings fan, so I thought Windsor, but then you party in Wasaga, and only Torontonians party in Wasaga. Davide, I'm from Stony Creek, so like Hamilton area, Ontario. Usman says, if Dybala leaves next summer, do we get Zaniolo? Oh, yeah. Hammer that all day. I would take that swap, no problem. The only thing is fitness, but like again, Dybala's fitness issues. He has fitness issues as well. Davide is responding to Usman saying, if we lose Dybala, we need to get another attacking midfielder to warm the J medical, which could be Zaniolo because he could be injury prone. James Azopardi says Leo Bonucci 7.5, Chiellini 7.5, Barzagli 7.8. It's a Monblano number, if you ask me. Ismail says Chiellini is more like a defender playmaker. Barzagli is more like a tank and defend. Yeah, sure. again, everyone's got their own opinion. We see from the poll here that Chiellini, after 24 votes, Chiellini had 66%, Barzagli 29%, Bonucci 4%. So there's some Bonucci love there. Cool. It's a good poll. Torero says, yes, Bernardeschi, Chiesa, Kulu, Morata, Dybala, Caio, and the two youngsters who I'm forgetting their names. Oh, you're going back to the 8 forwards. But Bernardeschi is not really a forward. Kulusevski's not really a forward. He did play forward last year, obviously. I'm not saying he's not just a forward, but whatever. It's fine. You win. We have 8 forwards. Because on the Juventus list against Empoli, we had 2 forwards. Davide Fufaro says, Barzagli has beautiful hair. Chiellini has no hair. You tell me who's better. Oh, my God, with the hair. So, wait, time out. So, am I automatically better than Justin then because I have nice hair? Or I have more hair than Justin? Let me know. Let us know in the comments. Torero says, how is Barzagli comparable to Chiellini? Chiellini any day of the week with my eyes closed is the better defender, with all due respect to Barzagli. I mean, there is a difference in terms of quality, but I wouldn't say that much of a difference. Like Barzagli was a very good defender. He was on the World Cup team for a reason, not because he's played a lot, but like he was good enough. He was young enough at the time to make the team. Oh, look at that. Edgar Mulamula says, I saw Barzagli with one big blunder in the World Cup or Europe 2008. It was a big blunder on a big stage. Okay, so you pointed out one. So, again, all 3 are great in their own right. Chiellini probably tips the scales a bit more in his favor because he's just always there when you need him in a defensive sense. Davide says, Stony Creek, nice area. He'll give me that. Yeah, it is a nice area. Davide, where are you from? Are you from Niagara Falls? I forget. I think you are from Niagara Falls or somewhere around there. Mohammed Kabaj says, peanuts. And by the way, I love the 2017 season. It was magical. I liked the 2015 season more if we're talking about Juventus because it had every element of the team was good. The midfield was top class with Pirlo, Vidal, Pogba, and Marchisio. Defense had Chiellini, Bonucci, Barzagli, and then they also had Evra and Lichtsteiner. Attack was Tevez and Llorente and Morata. It was a very good balanced team, and that was my favorite team that we've had in the past decade. Now, the 2017 team, the midfield was a little bit different. We had a more serious striker in attack with Higuain. Turns out he didn't do the best in the final, but whatever. We had an element of Mandzukic. We had Sandro come and replace Evra. We still had the BBC at the back, and we had Dani Alves on the right. That was a fun team as well. It was probably more attack-oriented, but it was good. It was a very good team, and that's when you saw Dybala at his best, playing under a very suitable number 9 forward. If we can get that back into our team, either Morata can be that guy. I have my limitations on him, but if Keane can develop into that guy, maybe Dybala and Keane link up well. Who knows? Where was I? Oh, Usman says best center back Juve had was Fabio Cannavaro. Could have been a legend if we're not for Calciopoli. Yeah, he's coming off his Ballon d'Or season after the World Cup. The previous 2 years, obviously Calciopoli had something to do with why he left. It was actually the only reason why he left. But yeah, he's a solid defender, of course. And the thing about Cannavaro was he wasn't the tallest guy, but he's always the guy who got stuck in the most. Great at tackling, great at intercepting play. Always knew where to be in the right spots, and could pop up with a goal or two if you really needed him. MZ Raf says, nice head, Fred. Yeah, I got to do something about that. Davide Fufaro says, Julian has nice hair. Justin has no hair. You tell me who's better. Also, Julian doesn't wear orange headphones with blue backlighting. Yeah, I don't. I got the ball in my background. That's my background. A nice little Juventus flag. I got Thanos in the background. And I got hair. So poo-poo to you, Justin. Toriro says Barzali was the strongest. Okay. Toriro's really on the Barzali train here. Guys, I know we're having a good laugh here. There's not much news going on. It's nice to think about nostalgia and older teams of the past. But and thank you for commenting and keeping the live chat going. Please like the video if you haven't already. Please subscribe to the channel if you're very new, and hit the bell icon to stay notified when we have more content coming out. Saad said, what made Barzali look so good was playing with Giorgio and Leo. In my opinion, he was a complimentary to them. Again, I think I've already said this. They all had their pros and their cons. Or sorry, yeah, the pros and their cons. Chiellini can't do shit with the ball, but one-on-one defending and organization of defense, one of the best in this generation. Leo Bonucci, world-class on the ball. I was talking about this yesterday. Excellent on the ball defender. One-on-one situations, not great. When he's in an organized situation, he's good. Barzali, not the flashiest guy, always in the right position, just solid as a rock. And they all complemented each other so well, and it was such a well-oiled machine in the mid-2010s that we were the best defense in Europe at the time. Moving along here, Davide said, okay, where are you from, Davide? Let us know. If you're from Ontario, let me know where you're at. Mohammed says, I really miss Lichtsteiner, Vidal, and Coman. Coman? He didn't even do anything for us. How do you miss him? Is that, what's that called? Is that hindsight? Because he's pretty good now? Must be. But Lichtsteiner, yeah, he was a beast. He was the engine that never stopped down that right flank in the early days of the new winning regime. He was a good player. Weirdly, and I brought this up in our chat with producer Ale and Justin. The Champions League list just came out yesterday, and the last 2-3 years of Lichtsteiner's Juventus career, he was always left off the Champions League list. It always blew my mind that he was the guy who got left out. Even if he wasn't starting, he could have been a nice deputy to someone. But again, it is what it is. We're living in the past right now, so might as well keep it going. We got about 8 more minutes, guys. 8 more minutes of live chat. If you guys want to bring up anything else nostalgic, bring it up, and I'll comment, and we'll have a good discussion. Syed says, one former player who's currently playing, you'll take back. Probably Pogba. I know everyone's like, oh my God, it's Ronaldo. I was like, no, I'd rather have Pogba because we desperately need another center midfielder. So I'm going to say Paul Pogba. Toriro. Julian, who's your favorite commenter or viewer of your channel besides Toriro? If I don't say my mom, she'll be mad at me, so I'm going to say my mom. Too funny. Tejraj says Lichtsteiner is Forrest Gump. Yeah, that was his nickname. That was his nickname through the years. Davide says, I won't say location publicly, but I'll contact you off air. Yeah, fair enough. Let me know where you're from. Obviously, you don't want to make it public, so that's fair enough. Mohammed says, Coleman had one good season with us. He had a good season with us? I don't know. I thought he barely played. That's why he wanted to leave so badly. James has a party. Says, Buffon, Chiellini, Barzali, Bonucci, Lichtsteiner, the best defense ever. Yeah, it was up there, guys. It was one of the best defenses in Europe. Like I said, definitely in Italy, it was the best defense. Stats prove that. Just watching the games prove that. They're all in their primes at the same time, which is nice. Syed said, yeah, sorry. Would you take Serge Aurier? He's a good player who can give a tough fight for Danilo, and he's a free agent. I wouldn't sign Serge Aurier. It would just mean another player in our squad without releasing someone, and then he won't be on the Champions League list now. At this point, it's just he doesn't drastically improve the team. He's a good player. Like, I'm gonna take that back. Sometimes he's a good player, but sometimes his mental toughness, you can see it in games. Like for Tottenham, sometimes you're just like, oh my god, what is this guy doing? But then some games he was like, yes, wow, he's actually a really good player, solid player up and down the field. But there's a reason why they canceled his contract and terminated his contract. I think he's going to Arsenal too, by the way. Yusuf says, do you think not having our South American players and McKennie can be a blessing in disguise to get the remaining to give their all versus Napoli? Listen, we're gonna struggle here against Napoli if those players don't even make the bench, then we're struggling. I'm scared, not just because we might have to play Ramsey or someone, but because I think Ramsey will be fine or fit by then. But it's not looking good because from what I gather from what the national team setup is going with right now, I feel like the starting 11 that started today against Bulgaria will again play against Switzerland. But then against Lithuania, I think the substitute players will start. So that's like Locatelli, that's like Keane. I think those guys will start against Lithuania because I don't think the starting players for the national team will play three games in 8 days. So I have a hunch that Locatelli will be playing against Lithuania, that midweek game just before Napoli. And again, that doesn't help us at all. Mohammed says, call me stupid, but I would rather have Milinkovic-Savic rather than Pogba, Barella, or Jorginho. You're not stupid because he's a very good player. Just Pogba would be free. That's the only advantage of having Pogba or in that situation. Barella and Jorginho, they're very good players. Milinkovic-Savic is probably more industrious than those two. But you see how Jorginho can control games. And you can see, and we know Jorginho is aging a bit now. He's in his 30s. But he's in the prime of his career at this moment. And he just won European Player of the Year. So to reject a European Player of the Year in a position of direct need would be kind of foolish. Ismail Bergatar says, I still can't forget the Capello era team. Best team for me. Yeah, they were good. That was the mid-2000s, right? Very good team. We had Ibrahimovic, Nedved, Thuram, Emerson, Vieira, just before Calciopoli happened. Very good team. Abtin Hojabri says, I think Juve is going to be great this year because of the Ita Juve. I think the squad was too multinational, and it's hard for a team to play as a team where most players barely speak the same language. That could be it. Just team cohesion and chemistry. That could be a reason. I like the optimism. Roberto Santopadre says, Ramsey stinks. Yeah, 100%. Saad says, any GK you like as a prospect to replace Tech since Donnarumma is already gone? Honestly, I just want a guy who stop the ball. I just want a guy who's reliable to stop shots, and comfortable on the ball. He doesn't have to be the best player with the ball. He doesn't have to be Alisson, or he doesn't have to be what's his name, Ederson, with the ball at his feet. As long as you stop the ball, as long as you're competent with your feet, I'll take you. That's way more than we can say about Szczesny right now. Tariro says Max won't change his boring philosophy since he never tried another tactic with another team. It's his last shot as a Juve boss, so he will use his tried and tested boring tactics, so don't get excited. I think we knew that. I think Justin and I have been saying over the past lives that expect 2-1 wins, expect 1-0 wins, and that's fine. Just get us 3 points. Just get us playing the way you need us to play. Get us 3 points. Put them in your back pocket. Move to the next game. Syed says, thoughts on Pjanic to Besiktas? If we were planning to get him in January, would be look towards an alternative like Witsel. He'll be perfect to fit alongside Locatelli in a 4-2-3-1. I don't want Pjanic in a 2-man double pivot. I think he'll get run over on the particular side he's on. So I would say no to that. But again, everyone has their own opinion. Mohammed says, do you watch the NBA? And if you do, who do you support? I support H-Town. So you like the worst team in the league. Fair enough. I was a Cleveland fan because I went to school in Cleveland, and I've just been following LeBron James since. Once he retires, I'll probably just stick with the Lakers. I got enough of their hats now and some jackets, so I'll be a Lakers fan from now on. James Azopardi says, if you wish Ronaldo back, you have to go get Jorginho, Pogba, Conte. Then you'll. No, I don't want Ronaldo back. I don't want him back. Yeah, so we're going to wrap it up here, guys. 6 o'clock my time, 12 o'clock Italy time. Thank you guys all for joining today. It was a good discussion about nostalgia and former ETEL Juves of the past and going into the future. Really excited about the Juventus players going for the national team in the future. We will be talking about the international break throughout the week or the next week. So it is a little bit of a boring time, but continue to watch us, continue to keep up with the Juventus players, support them as much as possible, as much as you can. Thank you for watching again. Like the video if you haven't done so already. Finally, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel. If you're new still, click the bell icon to stay connected and get all the latest updates from our channel. And we'll talk to you later, guys. See ya. Ciao.